Greetings, everyone. I'm excited to welcome Nathan Nasseri, CEO and founder at ResVR. Nathan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
Hey, let's dive right in. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I have been working with video game technology for 25 years, and my family are one of the largest home builders in Alberta, where I'm from. My uncle and his company, Landmark Homes, have built 17,000 homes over the last 47 years. And about 11 years ago, I started working in new home sales and realized that there was a innovation need to build visualization solutions for home buyers. So I took it upon myself to start a company in 2016, which was acquired in 2019. And ResVR is basically the second iteration of that, but now it is a SaaS business model instead of a services business model.
Okay, perfect. Right, moving from services to SaaS, which you see so often.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and it looks like your background kind of a mix of maybe employee or corporations plus founder roles. So, is it but kind of been a mix in your career?
Yeah, I have a very entrepreneurial family, so it
Hmm.
was something that was just kind of normal for me growing up. But once I actually started working in a show home and explaining to people what their home would look like, showing them construction drawings, showing them product samples, and I realized that they just didn't really understand with the tools that we were using in the building industry to convey what their house would look like. So it was very typical for me to hear from customers, "Oh, Nathan, next time I build a house, this is what I'm going to do differently." And once I tried virtual reality for the first time in 2015, I thought, wow, what a powerful tool to have in my sales experience for home buyers. And that's what led me to start becoming a founder I wanted to ride that virtual reality wave, but unfortunately VR never still hasn't taken off.
Hmm.
So maybe in 20 more years, but definitely not right now.
Yeah, not to take off just yet, but I'm sure it'll happen. So it sounds like you're solving your own pain then with ResVR. So let's transition. So yeah, tell us what products and or services that ResVR offers.
Yeah, so we develop software for home builders, particularly custom or not custom, production home builders. And how production home builders operate their business is they have like a catalog of houses that they offer to home buyers. And then you have within those floor plans different ways you can configure them that are pre-configured options. And then as well, you have different finishes or upgrades that you can do to the home. If you're in a climate that has basements, maybe you're looking at developing the basement or putting a secondary suite or an ADU into your property. Those are very expensive upgrades to do. And it's difficult if you can't actually see the impact that that's going to have on your home. And that's just, some of the more expensive ones. And there's the very popular ones like getting built-in appliances into your kitchen or getting a walk-in tiled shower with a granite seat into your ensuite. Those are the things that buyers don't really understand, what that's going to look like, how that's going to function, why this would be a benefit for them. But once you can actually show it to them using gaming technology, that's when they start to think, "Oh, I could have that. That's something that I want to have in my house."
Okay, yeah, that makes a ton of sense so buyers can easily visualize the finishes and how it's going to look. And so tell us a little bit. Obviously, I mean, targeting home builders. I'm not too familiar with the space. So tell me what prospects companies are you after to sell your software?
Yeah, so typically, none of like we would work with one of the giants, of course, but typically we look at ourselves as like the more affordable visualization solution for production style home builders. Generally they're building anywhere from 100 to 1,000 homes per year. They build off of the plan. They don't customize homes, and generally they're selling their homes for under $1 million all in price. Markets where it gets a little bit more expensive than that, generally there's a level of customization that's expected from the home buyer, and we don't deal with customization. It's more like, here's your options, pick one and we'll build it for you.
Okay, and then who are you trying to reach within these home builders to prospect?
Well, we love to talk to the owners of the company
Hmm.
because our software is really all about showing significant returns on the investment. As an example, one of our clients recently spent about $8,500 on our software and was able to sell four brand new floor plans, combined value of $3.5 million. So spending less than 10 grand and getting back millions of dollars is quite an attractive opportunity for builders. But outside of we can't talk to the owners because or the operations team because they're generally very busy, we'll talk to someone in the sales department because ultimately we've designed this as a sales tool. It does work for making your selections in the interior design stage and as well for marketing teams and promoting these properties before they're built. But ultimately, it's a sales tool that the salesperson would use with the home buyer and, get them enticed to spend more money, which means for that salesperson, they're going to make a higher commission if they get them to spend $50,000 more in upgrades. That's $50,000 more in commissions for them on that sale.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because it seems like a very clear value proposition and ROI. So tell us a little bit about pricing theory here, because if it converts, say, someone who wasn't sure about buying $1 million house and then it pushes them over the fence to purchase that, very clear ROI on that. So how do you think about pricing when you could be pushing, generating millions of additional revenue?
Yeah, it's a great question. Really, I thought about what was the cheapest we could do it for. That was really like what I thought of when my team and I were building our second company over again from scratch. And we thought, okay, well, we haven't done this for 5 years. So, how can we build a brand new tech stack to accommodate all of the advances that have happened in gaming and graphics technologies? So, we thought about how we would build something specifically for this type of customer and, you know, like the technology we work with, it's not new. Like it's been in existence for, decades at this point. The challenge for the home builder is it's so cost prohibitive. And if they're looking to engage in a visualization solution, it's going to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars right out of the gate. And that's something that we realized was a massive barrier to entry for these customers. So we approach it as there's no setup fee, you don't pay until you start using our software. And also, really being able to measure the returns that the builder is getting so we can definitively prove to them you are making way more money off of our software than you're spending on it. And that's generally how we like to go about it because I even tell my customers like if it's not working for you, cancel. There's no cancellation fee. You don't have to keep, you're not stuck in the subscription, but I really thought about this from day one how we would make this super valuable for a home builder. In particularly, obviously selling more homes but even just measuring the amount of upgrades they're able to convince a customer to go with. I always, like to the value proposition I present to builders is if I can help you sell $10,000 of upgrades for every customer you have, what does that look like to you at the end of the year? And especially on upgrades, it's important because they have close to a 50% margin on those upgrades. So almost half of that revenue is profit. So it's very, very attractive for them when it's phrased like that.
Yeah, that's great. Seems like a fun sales process when you're going into these home builders. So,
It's not always fun. It's definitely not always fun, but
yeah.
it's a very, stagnant industry. It hasn't innovated or changed a lot even since the internet, besides getting websites. So and I understand why. Like my family are builders and I get it. It's, if you are profitable and you're growing and your customers keep coming back, why would you innovate? Why would you need to
Mhm.
change? Especially when you have someone like Nathan coming in and saying, "Hey, I can like change your business and it's just going to cost you $500,000 to get started." And they're like, "We're good. We're fine." But if I come in again in a few years and say, "Well, I'll do it for free," and you're just going to pay a subscription every month, all of a sudden that's a much easier pill to swallow for them.
So tell us about a little bit about the construction industry. Obviously, you know it really well. Is this lagging on the tech side? Is there not much, like you said, not much change in innovation? Are they slow to adopt new software?
Yes, absolutely, Ben. It's painfully slow because they work in like 5-year cycles if you think about it. And they don't have time to just pause everything. Okay, what technology are we going to create or invest into this month and then go back into another 5-year cycle? They're always on the go. Really, there's a huge risk about implementing new technology is this could cripple our business if it doesn't get implemented properly. So that's a big human factor of like why someone would say I don't want this because if this goes wrong, I'm not going to have a job here. So there is a big incentive for people to be innovative in the construction industry. And about 10 years ago when I started working in this field, the only industry that was behind construction was agriculture and hunting. And since then, both of those industries have surpassed construction in terms of the innovation that they're seeing into those industries. So construction is the biggest laggard in terms of innovation, even though it's one of the largest industries in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Appreciate that insight. That's fascinating. So, what year did you found VR?
So ResVR was founded in 2023.
Okay, so 2023, so still relatively new. And then, do you guys have a headquarters location, or are you virtual?
Well, we're headquartered in Calgary,
Mhm.
but we also we're working remotely for the better part of the last 10 years. And yeah, I don't believe in having offices. I believe in a very strong work-life balance, and it's better for, our workers, our employees, our team to be able to stay at home with their family. And whether if that means they're working like 9 to 5 or if they're working like midnight to 2, whatever works for them. I know I've members on the team that work from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. And people on like the opposite schedule as well. So it's whatever works for them. I don't think you need to go into an office to actually we run the whole company on Discord. So people always find that kind of fascinating that we're using a gaming platform like Discord to run a business.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great flexibility. And then, talking about team, what's your current team size?
Yeah, so we have about 30 people on our team. We have a team in Canada, a team in South America, two teams in Europe, and one team in Asia. This way, it allows us to work much faster. So that's another big differentiator that we propose to our clients as well is, how long is this going to take? And we're like 30 days or less. We've never had a project take longer than that. And that generally is like, 3 times faster than anyone else in the industry. So, sometimes I hear builders say, yeah, we waited a year to get like something back from another competitor of your of our of ResVR, and they ended up, taking a year, and we weren't happy with the quality at the end of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Appreciate that. So all over the world. And then, anything you want to share around ARR revenue ranges at this point?
Yeah, so we are relatively new,
Hmm.
but we're growing pretty fast. So last year we did $10,000 because
Hmm.
we started billing in about November.
Yep.
And then right now we're going to get over 250,000 in annual recurring revenue by the end of this year. And yeah, we are
Hmm.
definitely hoping to be over 1 million by the end of next year. Just kind of slow to get the engine going, but it's very new what we're doing. So it's a completely different approach to how the software is offered, how builders operate, even. So I wouldn't say there's a learning curve. It's more of builders don't move fast with making these decisions. And you have it's that bell curve where you have the innovators, the early adopters, and we're just about to hit that upwards inflection where we're seeing mass adoption. And then also, Ben, we're putting our software online using NVIDIA's graphic delivery network. So once that's done, that's been a big challenge for our builders is they want this online. They want this to be like a car configurator for their customers. So I imagine once that's done and we can provide that as part of our subscription, the builders are going to be quite enthusiastic to start using it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, appreciate that transparency and talking about an industry that's a little lagging on tech adoption. So, tell us about your go-to-market motion. We talked about the construction industry lagging on tech adoption. So, tell us a little bit how you're finding owners and then just the sales cycle that you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm lucky that I get to build my business over again. So I actually already had a significant amount of industry contacts myself. So I decided to just reach out to early adopters of our technology from my previous company. There was a lot of enthusiasm to onboard it and start working with us again. And also just having referrals, talking to other people in the industry. It's like, oh, you need to talk to this builder. They're early adopters. They love being innovative. They love technology. So a lot of that. So yeah, personal referrals. It's difficult. Like builders really have this like iron curtain around them, and it's difficult to pierce that. But I find once we're in, our value proposition is quite compelling. But yeah, we've had sales that we close the first time I meet them, and like we deliver the project within like 2 weeks of that first meeting. And then others where, it's been over a year and then they say, hey, yeah, we've worked with the other people in the space. We're ready to give you guys a shot.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. So day one close and maybe, 12-month sales cycles or even longer. So
Yeah.
a mix there. So switching to the fundraising side, how much capital have you raised to date?
Do you want it in US dollars or Canadian dollars?
Canadians, good.
Okay, so to date, we've raised $1.7 million. That's been over the last 12 months or so. So that's a nice mix of family offices, non-dilutive funding, venture capital, angel investment. So we basically took money anywhere we could. Startup TNT was a phenomenal program for us to go through because we were really exposed to a lot of the angel network within Western Canada. And it's just a good platform to be able to showcase, a new innovative way of, approaching how the home buying process works. And then, yeah, we did like a small raise about a year ago, got some grant funding, like just over $250,000 in grant funding. And yeah, I'd say probably from February till mid-April, I was basically working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week on calls with investors. And that really became my full-time job. So our sales literally stopped for that period of time, but it was necessary so that we could get the capital to continue to scale up our product, build it better, because we're technically still in like beta right now, and we're just this month going to be coming out of beta into full release. So that wouldn't have been possible without us having like the capital. Because unlike my first company, where the customers are kind of paying up front to get the technology built, we're building all the technology up front now, and then on the residuals, we'll be able to make up for it.
Okay. And I was going to ask, did you know from the beginning that you were going to raise outside funding? And is this just a product that just requires some capital to get going? Otherwise, it just take too long to bootstrap?
Yeah, it definitely, the other part of it too, Ben, is it's really hard to switch from a services model to a SaaS model, because if you already have customers paying you 20, 50, $100,000 up front, like why would you want to switch them to like, hey, pay me $2,000 a month?
Mm.
That hurts a lot to do. When you're getting those huge cash infusions, it's really difficult to turn those away. So yeah, it was something that I knew from day one. I wanted to build this as a SaaS model, and I also knew that I would need to raise capital to make it work.
And then where did the fundraise it sounds like, kind of raising from different sources. So I don't know if there was a point where you had the vision, now fundraise, or did you have a prototype? Tell us kind of where that funding landed and yeah, where that happened since founding the company.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we had the advantage of having built this technology for a number of years already. I'm very privileged to be able to work with the same team I built my last company with. So yeah, essentially we just kind of all got together, thought of how we would like restart this over again. We didn't even think about it until my non-compete had expired, and we just kind of got together, and surprisingly a lot of people were like, yeah, we were just waiting for you to ask us, just to get this going again. So yeah, I'd say we reached out to 3 or 4 initial pilot prospects. 3 of them agreed to move forward with a free pilot so we could gather information and data from them. We raised a tiny bit of money, a couple 100,000, to just build those out for those customers. And then all of those customers ended up being like converting into paid customers, because, they were like, this is costing us like thousands of dollars a month and we can sell like a whole house using this. And the sales team, especially, are the ones that love this the most, because it's like, you've got the customer there. They're in the show home because they want to buy something. And now you have the opportunity to really show them what their house could look like, instead of just like point to a Matterport tour of another house, or send them to another model home that's built in another part of the city, or show them black lines of the floor plan that they think would be a good fit for them. Now it's much more engaging, and they connect with the product in a much better way.
Okay. And in at this stage of the business, Nathan, do you have a favorite number or metric that you're focused on to guide the business?
I guess like probably the biggest metric is the number of builders that we have signed up. So right now we have 7 builders signed up. I'm hoping by the end of the week, well, definitely let's say the end of July, we'll have 9. And basically the reason I track that metric as the most important is the level of effort it requires for us to sell to new builders. Because if we come into a meeting and I say, "Hey, Ben, I need to pilot something with you. I've never built this before." You're going to be like, "Mm, this better be free." Versus if I come in and say, "Hey, we're working with 50 builders right now." And you say, "Okay, well, that's a big stamp of approval. Like, how do we get started?" So even to the point where I think, hey, I went into a competitor home builder's show home and I saw the software in there, and I really am interested to have this for my company because it looks fantastic. So I also think we're going to go away from the pushing our product onto people towards like people are pulling our product towards them.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So going for that mass, so 9 builders hopefully by the end of July here. So Nathan, as we wrap up here, what's coming up next for ResVR?
Yeah, so like our full product release coming out this month, putting our software online is going to be a huge innovation for us. And as well, we are going to be starting doing the exteriors of the home as well. So that's something that literally every single builder has asked us about is, okay, cool. The inside's great. We get that. What about the outside? How do we design the outside? Because that's something that, like, people know what a kitchen looks like. They know what a bathroom looks like, generally speaking. But when it's like designing your whole house and picking the colors for your house, picking the stone, picking like what trim is it going to be, black or white? How is that going to impact the home? What kind of roof shingles are you going to put on it? What's the elevation style of the house? These are all things that matter so much when you're designing the home. So it's definitely something that we've been focusing our team and building over the last couple of months as well for our customers. So I think those are like the biggest things right now. And then hopefully by the end of the year, we're going to start working on like entire subdivisions as well. So not just your house, but your entire community and what that's going to look like.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, I could see that definitely accelerating sales. So Nathan, really appreciate your time today and sharing your journey. If listeners would like to learn more about ResVR, where should we send them online?
Yeah, just go to our website, www.resvr.com. That's resvr.com. And you can reach out to us over on there. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Nathan Nasseri, ResVR. And as well, you can follow our company page on LinkedIn as well.
All right. Well, perfect. If you'd like to learn more about what Nathan's doing at ResVR, check out resvr.com. And again, Nathan, appreciate your time and sharing your journey.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Thanks, Nathan.